last 2 weeks that will take the award away from him. It's his to lose.
Right. And by the way, it's the second time or maybe the third time in NFL history that the league MVP will actually be younger than the Heisman Trophy winner.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Big name injuries. Arizona, Hassan Reddick is questionable with that inner thigh injury. Seattle Seahawks have Luke Wilson, Michael Kendricks, Shaquille Griffin, Jadeveon Clowney still showing up on the injury report, and Ziggy Ansah all listed as questionable. Bobby Wagner's nursing an ankle injury. He should be okay to go against the Cardinals. And Quandre Diggs, the safety, is doubtful, diagnosed with a high ankle sprain.
Well, Russell Wilson
taking the Seahawks, by the way.
Yeah, well, I was going to add here, Russell Wilson has 13 touchdowns, only one interception for a 104.3 rating in his past 8 versus Arizona. I will also take the Seahawks. This would be my legit lock of the week if I hadn't already locked the Seahawks earlier this season.
Yeah, it's a division game.
But it's at home. Oh, it's at home in Seattle, where we know the winter weather is rainy, usually 45 degrees and rain. Let's see what the Weather Channel says. Sunday's weather in Seattle. Oh, we're going to miss the rain by a day. 45 degrees and mostly cloudy.
Well,
it's a shame. Showers on Saturday and Friday. That's where you'll have the rain there, Seattle. Okay, Sunday night football. This game got flexed here, didn't it?
It did.
I'm surprised one of these other games. I mean, surprised like the NFC Least Championship game didn't get moved here.
Had that game earlier this year on Sunday night.
Maybe the Saints-Titans game. That game could have been flexed here.
Could have. Titans haven't been in prime time at all this year.
I mean, if they wanted to be creative, they could have put the toilet bowl, the Bengals-Dolphins game here. I mean, that
not at this late in the season. You want people to watch the games, not run away from them.
No. You got to be creative with it, though. You got to do something fun. Maybe even give Michaels and Collinsworth like the week off and put like your interns on the call.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, do something creative, do something fun. Anyway, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. They're 10-4. They are at the Chicago Bears 7-7. The Chiefs are 4th in the power rankings. The Bears are 18th. The Chiefs are favored by 5.5 in this one. The Bears have won 2 of the last 3 versus the Chiefs. Of course, the last time was in 2015, and it was an 18-17 victory for the Bears. For as great as the Bears defense was supposed to be here, James, I know a lot of people want to point to the Bears' struggles as a Mitch Trubisky thing.
Nope,
they give up 324 yards per game and have only 16 takeaways versus 18 giveaways. If, and that is a very big if, the Bears D can play to their hype and, notice I said and, not or, Trubisky can play good Trubisky, the Bears can make a game of this, but that's just too tall of an order. I am going to take the Kansas City Chiefs to win.
Yeah, that sounded like
points.
Yeah, the words if and sounded like they were in all caps in that statement. I don't trust
they
those
were.
2 words in the same sentence. You did mention the defense. It's kind of hard for the defense to play sound on a consistent basis when the offense regularly goes 3 and out at the most inopportune times, or, as you just mentioned, turns the ball over on their own side of the field. So if you put the Bears on a short field, say, like, I don't know, throwing a pick inside the 30-yard line or fumbling it away at the 35, it's a short field. It's kind of almost impossible for the Bears to establish their defense the way they want to, with the opposition only having to go 30 yards or less to score a touchdown. And that's happened quite a bit over the course of the entire season. So, yeah, there have been moments where they played great. There have been moments where it's been like, what the heck is going on? But overall, this entire team has not played up to standard. If you told me this team was going to be 8-8 for the year, I expect them to be at least 7-7 right now, not 6-8. So, oh man, look, young guys getting to the playoffs for the first time tend to take a step back. This was theirs. Injury report for the Bears: Taylor Gabriel and Roy Robertson Harris, both listed as questionable. For the Chiefs, We've got Rashad Fenton, Morris Claiborne, Damian Williams, and Andrew Wiley. Wiley did hurt his ankle during Sunday's win against the Broncos. So something to look out there with the offense.
Weather shouldn't be a factor. The low will be 35 degrees. There will be a little bit of a breeze at 10 miles per hour. Typical Chicago weather, quite honestly, but nothing outrageous there. And quite honestly, I take these weather reports with a little bit of a grain of salt, as we did not mention a snow game for Kansas City last week. The weather report did not say anything about snow.
No, it didn't. That snow moved in late, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was great to have snow, but I mean, I'd like to know that there's going to be a snow game well before actual kickoff. From Nick, the Chiefs depart snowy Kansas City for frosty Chicago in the first of two games against teams going nowhere that will be completely meaningless unless the Pats decide to lose a game or someone important gets injured. Huh? That didn't really sell it. Andy Reid's coaching tree accounts for about a quarter of the league, but he hasn't lost to a former assistant since falling to Ron Rivera's Panthers in his final year as Eagles head coach in 2012. Bears head coach Matt Nagy seemed to briefly have a plan for protecting quarterback Mitch Trubisky from himself, but that hit a rut against Green Bay last week, and I don't expect him to catch the Chiefs off guard with a playbook Xeroxed from their own. That's especially because the Chiefs defense has quietly been a top 10 unit since the midpoint of the season. Honey Badger has been PFF's top-ranked safety since week 10, and his sidekick second-round rookie Juan Thornhill has been stellar as well. Those two, more than anything else, have transformed the secondary from dumpster fire to sixth in the defensive DVOA against the pass. They do everything defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo's defense asks of them and more: blitzing, run support, communicating, man coverage at the line, and probably most importantly, backfilling behind the complex blitzes that Spags loves to call. No corners, no problem. Chiefs drub the Chicago Trubs 31-9. I think that's a little optimistic. I would say 30. I'll give him the 31, but I say the Bears put 17 on the board.
Yeah, I'd probably make that 20-17 or 24-17.
Okay.
I don't see them scoring that many points. Yeah, the 17 for the Bears is fair because the Chiefs' defense has improved that it can consistently stop opposition. So playing subpar teams over the last couple of weeks kind of makes them look better than what they really are.
It's too bad Sunday Night Football can't flex Monday Night Football games, because this is actually a good one. It is the Green Bay Packers 11-3 against the Minnesota Vikings 10-4. Surprising that Monday Night Football gets a good game, especially this late in the season. We'll see what kind of sexual organs Booger McFarlane can draw on the screen this week.
Gosh.
Packers. Did I mention the Packers are ranked 7th and the Vikings are ranked 9th? Vikings are favored. Let me repeat this. The Vikings are favored by 4.5 points in this particular game.
Well, they are at home.
Pro Bowler quarterback Aaron Rodgers has 21 touchdowns versus 2 interceptions. That's a 110.1 rating in 11 career road games versus Minnesota. It's pretty good. Should be Pro Bowler quarterback Kirk Cousins has 1,372 passing yards. That's 343 per game, and 11 touchdowns versus 3 interceptions for a 112.8 rating in 4 career games versus Green Bay. The biggest problem here for Minnesota to cover 4.5 is Dalvin Cook's injury, whom is one of the targets of my ire.
Well, since you mentioned Dalvin Cook, quickly on the injury report, nobody for the Packers because there isn't one as of yet. For the Vikings, Dalvin Cook, main name there. Coach says he feels good on Monday, expressed optimism that he'll be back on Monday night, nursing that right shoulder injury he took last week. Also on the injury report, Xavier Rhodes. His playing time was limited during the win over the Chargers due to a calf injury, so keep an eye on that. And Jerron Kearse, the safety, shows up as questionable as well.
Yeah, that shoulder injury cost me a championship against my son, Mr. Cook. Dare you? I'm taking the Packers as my Monty Special.
Adam and Eve on a raft, a cup of muck, and an upset special.
I mean, I seriously don't get why the Vikings are favored in this game. I think the Packers... I don't think the Packers are going to win easily. It's going to be a good, close game, but I definitely don't get the Vikings favored, and I certainly don't get them favored by more than 3, which is what you typically get for the home team.
Well, I look at it this way. The Vikings defense has played well the last couple of weeks, albeit against subpar competition. The Packers have had some middling games on offense and some questionable games defensively over the last month. These guys don't generate a lot of turnovers. The Smiths, the defensive ends, aren't getting to the quarterbacks as much as they were earlier in the season. I think teams have kind of figured them out defensively. But the bigger issue I'm having with the Packers is they're not leaning on Aaron enough. And I don't mean Rodgers. I'm talking about Jones. I would run him into the ground and whoever else plays running back for that team and just pound teams into submission just to save Aaron Rodgers, mainly from himself. Because I'm serious. Some of these throws, don't get me wrong, when it works, it's phenomenal and it's awesome and it's the magic of Aaron Rodgers. But these things go the wrong way. It's boneheaded, borderline ineptitude, and how can he throw that pass to that guy in that coverage and that window? I mean, he's taken some really big gambles with some wide receivers that probably wouldn't be on other teams.
Well, listen, Aaron Rodgers learned from the best, right? he was on that bench behind Brett Favre for how many years?
He is nowhere near Brett Favre's INT total.
But that's my point, right? So you say he takes these crazy throws, and I mean, this year he's only thrown 2 interceptions.
I know.
Pretty good.
Look,
unlike now, if Jameis Winston could learn from Aaron Rodgers, he'd be a better quarterback.
There's no difference than how they're in their playing styles. It's just that Winston's throwing picks and Rodgers isn't, but they're playing practically the same as far as their style. They're both being willy-nilly with the football, Jay. It's just that it's working for one and it's not for the other.
That's my point. All right. Did you say who you're taking in this game? Are you taking
I'm taking the Packers, but I don't feel confident about it.
Okay. So there you go, James. I know we teased maybe we were going to talk about the Pro Bowl, but I think that's going to be its own special show. Peel back the curtain. We recorded them both at the same time anyway. It's just that you heard one show before the other.
Crackers. Now they know our secrets.
Well, every now and then you got to pull a rabbit out of the hat. This was one of those times.
Shenanigans.
It's just too much content to do in one show. What do you want from me? What do you want? Nextfanup@gmail.com. If you want to email us, you can send us your tweets at NFU Podcast. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/NFU Podcast. Thanks for listening to us on whatever app you're listening to us. Please leave us a review, share with a friend. We would love to have more people listening to the show as we get into the playoffs. The Superfan battles will return for the playoffs. So we're only 2 weeks away from that happening. Super excited to bring those back as we get to the end of the 2019 season. Can you believe it, James?
The end can't come soon enough.
Well, the end of this podcast is here. So I leave you here with Andy Dalton. Did not make the Pro Bowl. There you have it.
I never even heard his interview, so I don't know the context in which it was said. I don't know what he said before. I don't know what he said after. So I still haven't seen it. I'm not going to watch it. I don't care, But, I've got no ill will towards Jay. There's no feud between me and Jay. I think we lost the game. He said what he said, and, we're moving on. That's in the past now.